The ISS Valiant drifted through space like a silent spear, sleek and armored, patrolling the edge of the Orion expanse. Its hull shimmered against the backdrop of distant stars, a quiet warning to anyone who dared cross into Imperial territory. Inside, the crew moved with practiced calm. It was another routine sweep, at least. That's what everyone believed. Commander James Carter stood on the bridge, arms crossed behind his back. He was a tall man, built like a soldier but steady as a navigator. His uniform was neat, his boots polished, and his eyes sharp. He watched the monitors with quiet focus. The edge of the map blinked on the screen, marked as restricted space. Beyond that was the drift. The drift. A name whispered in training halls and dismissed in official records. According to the Empire's charts, it was empty. No stars, no planets, nothing of value, just dead space. But every commander knew the stories of ships disappearing, of systems vanishing without a trace. Lieutenant Nyla Voss, the ship's navigation officer, broke the silence. "Commander, I'm picking up something strange." James turned. "Strange how?" "Unusual signal pattern. Weak, but repeating. It's coming from beyond the charted zone." The bridge crew grew quiet. "Coordinates?" James asked. Nyla hesitated. "Outside the map space, just a few clicks past the drift border." James narrowed his eyes. The Empire had always been precise. Borders were drawn with intent. Yet here was a signal, alive and active, coming from where nothing should exist. "Could be a sensor ghost," said Commander Talek, his second in command. "Maybe," James replied. "Or maybe it's something more." He walked to the front of the bridge, looking out through the wide observation panel. In the distance, stars twinkled faintly. Beyond them, darkness. "Is the signal stable?" he asked. Nyla nodded. "Faint but steady." James thought for a moment. Then, with a calm voice, he said, "Adjust course. We'll investigate." Talek looked up sharply. "That's a violation of Imperial protocol." "I'm aware," James said. "But if someone or something is out there, we can't ignore it. We'll go in, take a look, and get out. Quietly." No one argued further. The crew began adjusting trajectory. Engines hummed. Lights dimmed slightly as the ship tilted toward the unknown. The edge of the map approached faster than expected. As the Valiant crossed into unmapped space, the lights flickered. Systems blinked once, then stabilized. "Commander," Nyla's voice was low, uneasy. "We've just crossed the drift border." James stared at the screen. The starfield was gone. Nothing but black. "What happened to the stars?" someone whispered. On every monitor, the map went blank. Coordinates faded. Navigation grids dissolved. "Nav systems down," Nyla reported. "Star chart data gone. It's like nothing's out there." James leaned forward, eyes fixed on the empty void. "No radiation," said the science officer. "No debris. It's just darkness." Silence filled the bridge. The crew waited for James to speak. He took a breath. "Full sensor sweep," he ordered. "Record everything." Then he looked back at the view screen. "We're not lost," he said. "We're explorers, and we're going to find out what the Empire didn't want us to see." The ship floated deeper into the black, surrounded by a silence that felt too complete. The crew of the ISS Valiant moved through the ship with a nervous energy. Tension filled the air. They were trained soldiers, scientists, and engineers, used to danger, but not the unknown. Not this. Not the darkness outside their ship that held no stars, no planets, no signals, only endless black. Commander James Carter stood in the center of the bridge, his face lit by dim emergency lights. The main screen still showed nothing. A flat, black void. Not even static. Just absence. "Report," he said calmly. Lieutenant Nyla Voss sat at her terminal, tapping commands quickly. Still no readings. Navigation's blind. External references are gone. Commander Talek, standing by her side, added, "No gravitational data, no light sources. It's like space itself is broken." James looked at the science officer. Dr. Helen Marquez. Any theories? Helen frowned. The only natural explanation would be a massive cloaking field. But nothing we've ever seen comes close. It's more like, this space doesn't exist. James remained still, his mind racing behind his calm expression. Restart star mapping protocols manually, he ordered. Run the oldest stellar scans in the archive, before the latest updates. Let's see if this place ever existed on record. Nyla nodded. Yes, Commander. As the crew worked, James stepped away from the bridge, heading to the data vault near engineering. He passed crew members who saluted him in silence, their eyes avoiding the windows. Fear was spreading. Inside the data vault, James pulled up restricted records, logs buried under outdated classifications. Some were centuries old. He searched for any mention of the drift. One file blinked. Exploration log. Year 2789. Status. Expunged. He accessed it. The file stuttered, then played. A shaky recording came to life. A younger officer speaking quickly, panic in his voice. We crossed into Sector E9. The stars vanished. Navigation failed. The crew started hearing things. Voices, static patterns repeating messages. The captain ordered us back, but the ship wouldn't respond. Then the stars started changing shape. The recording cut out. Static followed. James stared at the screen. The file was incomplete, corrupted, but it was enough. He returned to the bridge. There were records of this region, he said to the crew. A long time ago, someone erased them. That wasn't a glitch. The room was quiet. Commander Talek spoke, voice tense. If the Empire knew, why erase it? James met his eyes. Because whatever's out here, they don't want anyone to see it. Just then, the sensors chirped. Picking up something, Nyla said. Faint energy pattern. No ID, but it's moving. Toward us, James asked. No, away. James moved closer. Follow it. Slowly. The Valiant changed course. The engines hummed quietly as they moved deeper into the empty region. Ahead, the darkness remained unchanged, but the scanners kept pulsing. Then, without warning, every light on the ship flickered. For 2 seconds, everything turned off. Black, total silence. Then it all came back. The crew gasped. System-wide reset, said an engineer. Like something cut the core for a moment. James clenched his jaw. Something doesn't want us here. Back on the home world, far from the drift, High Minister Corvus Thal stood in a tall glass tower. He watched a large screen that tracked fleet movement. One signal blinked near the border. Is Valiant. He turned to his aide. They crossed, he said quietly. Yes, Minister. Mark them as lost. Begin Protocol 17. The aide hesitated. Should we attempt contact? Corvus narrowed his eyes. No, that region is sealed for a reason. If they come back, we silence them. On the Valiant, unaware of what was coming, James stared out into the dark. Continue scanning, he said. Find that signal, and log everything. We may be the first to see this, but we won't be the last. A low hum passed through the ship. Outside, the darkness seemed to shift, subtle, slow, as if watching them back. For hours the ISS Valiant moved through the darkness. No stars, no planets, no dust. Just a silent void. The crew worked under low lights. The usual sound of engines and computers filled the halls, but the ship felt different, too quiet, too still. Commander James Carter walked the corridors, checking on his crew. Some were anxious, others were exhausted. Fear had settled in, not loud or violent, but quiet and steady, like a slow leak. In the control room, Lieutenant Nyla Voss stared at her screen. Commander, she said, voice low. I've got something. James stepped beside her. It's weak but clear now. An old distress signal. Very old, she said. Same signal that pulled us here. It's repeating every 30 seconds. The code matches Imperial Registry, but it's from over 40 years ago. James's brow furrowed. That's impossible. Nyla tapped the console. Not if the ship never made it back. She brought up the source. The signal came from a point not far, floating deep inside. The drift. Set course, James said. Let's find it. Within minutes, the Valiant approached the source. Through the observation panel, something appeared, a large object, drifting slowly in the dark. Visual confirmed, Nyla said. ID matched, Imperial ship, ISV Almathea. Declared missing, year 2999. James stared at the wreck. It was old and covered in damage, but intact. Its lights were dead. The ship floated like a corpse. Launch a drone, he ordered. A small probe left the Valiant and circled the wreck. It scanned the structure, sent data back. No life signs, the science officer said. Hull is stable. Atmosphere minimal, but enough for a short visit. James nodded. Prep a boarding team. I'm going over, sir, it could be dangerous. Talek warned. I know, that's why I'm going. Minutes later, James and a small team entered the airlock of the derelict ship. The doors creaked open. The inside was dark and cold. Their suit lights lit the corridor ahead. Dust floating like ash. They moved through quiet halls. There were signs of panic, fallen helmets, broken panels, emergency lights shattered. In the command center they found it. The captain's log. James wiped off dust and activated the core console. It flickered to life, weak but readable. He downloaded the logs and sent them back to the Valiant. Then he saw the bodies. 3 crew members, seated at their stations. No damage, no blood. Just still. They never left. One of his officers whispered. Back on the Valiant. The logs played on the main screen. The dead ship's captain appeared. His face was pale and thin. His voice unsteady. If anyone finds this, turn back. The drift isn't empty. It isn't space. It's something else. We saw the stars move. We saw the sky blink. Our maps stopped working. The further we went, the more we forgot where we were. Then people stopped talking. One by one they stopped moving. I've sealed the ship. I'll wait. Maybe help will come. Maybe not. But no one should follow us. The log ended. The room went silent. James stared at the dark screen. They didn't die from injury. They died from being here. Dr. Helen Marcos nodded slowly. Their ship was intact. Systems were functional. But their minds weren't. James turned to his crew. This is what the Empire buried, he said. This is why they erased the records. They were afraid. Talek stepped forward. So what now? We leave. James looked out the window. The Almathea still floated outside, lost and forgotten. No, he said. We document everything. We finish what they started. The truth belongs to all of us. That night the crew buried the dead in space. A quiet ceremony. No music. Just a moment of silence, as the bodies drifted into the dark. In the command center the distress signal was finally turned off. But another signal started. One no one had activated. It was soft, repeating. A whisper on every channel. James leaned forward, listening. It was the voice from the old log. Only, it was saying something different now. You shouldn't have come. The ISS Valiant hovered in the dark, like a lonely island. The stars were still missing. The drift held them in silence, a space where time felt thin and reality unsteady. Commander James Carter stood on the bridge, staring at the transmission they'd just received. A ghostly message that didn't match any broadcast protocol. You shouldn't have come. The words played on every channel, over and over, like a warning or a curse. Are we sure this isn't a playback glitch? Commander Talek asked. No, said Dr. Helen Marquez. This isn't from the Almathea. It's new. Someone or something is broadcasting it now. James's jaw tightened. Shut it down. I don't want it playing on the crew's personal comms. Aye, sir, Nyla replied. The crew moved quickly, but unease had already settled into their bones. Fear had changed its form. It was no longer about being lost. Now it was about being watched. Moments later, an alert echoed across the bridge. Incoming object, high speed. Unmarked, Nyla reported. No response to hails. James moved to the main screen. A faint shape grew closer, sleek, military. Imperial. It's one of ours, Talek said quietly. But no transponder. That's not standard protocol, James said. A second alert followed. Another ship just exited warp on the far side of the drift, Nyla added. Matching build. Also no ID. 2 ships. Stealth class. Silent. James's eyes narrowed. They're not here to help us. A new message appeared on their secure channel. One that bypassed every firewall and encryption key. It came straight from High Minister Corvus Thal. James read the short, cold sentence aloud. You are carrying classified data. You are ordered to surrender or be neutralized. No emotion, no explanation, just an order, just a threat. Silence followed. James stood still, staring at the words. Then he turned to his crew. The Empire sent those ships to kill us. Some gasped, others didn't look surprised. They know we found the Almathea, James said. They know what we've seen. They don't want us bringing it back. Talek stepped forward. If we return, they'll cover it up. We'll vanish like the others. No, James replied. If we vanish, the truth dies with us. Dr. Marquez added. We have logs, recordings, proof. If we can get out of here. Get the signal out. The Empire won't be able to hide this. Can we outrun them? James asked. Nyla shook her head. Not in a straight line, but the anomalies in the drift, they could help. If we use the gravitational shifts, we might lose them. It's a risk, Talek said. James nodded. All of this is a risk. He stepped to the center of the bridge, looking at every face in the room. I won't order you to follow me. We can send the data out now on a deep band relay and scatter, or we can finish this together. Try to make it home. Try to break through the lie. Silence followed. Then Nyla spoke first. I'm in. Then Dr. Marquez. All the way. Talek looked at James, long and hard. Then he gave a short nod. Let's finish this. James gave the command. Plot a new course. Use the field shifts we mapped earlier. Hide in the gravity wells. Make them chase us. The ship turned quietly. Engines powered up, but no signal was sent out. They moved in silence, like a shadow in a darker shadow. The 2 enemy ships followed. No lights, no hails. For hours, it was a deadly game of movement. The Valiant used the strange distortions in space to throw off pursuit. At one point, the ship dove into a gravity sink, pushing the engines to their limit to escape a crushing pull. But they did. They slipped past one of the enemy ships. Still, the second stayed close. It launched a probe. Then weapons. The first shot missed. The second grazed the hull. Alarms blared. Shields down 20%, yelled an officer. Return fire, asked Talek. James hesitated. No, he said. We're not killers. Not unless we have no choice. Then the ship rocked. Another hit. The pursuer was closing in. Bring us around, James ordered. We'll use the dark band field. But that could destabilize. Nyla began. We're out of time, James said. Do it. The ship curved hard, engines screaming. The Valiant flew into a zone of deep distortion, a place where light bent and signals scattered. The enemy ship followed. Then space cracked, not visibly, but every screen glitched. Lights flickered. A low hum echoed through the hull. The distortion field collapsed behind them like a silent wall. The enemy ship disappeared. Contact lost, Nyla said. No signal, no trace. James exhaled. We got one. The other may still be out there. But for now, the path was clear. The edge of the drift appeared ahead. A thin line where starless space met the real stars of the galaxy. James looked at the map. Set course. We're heading home. The stars returned slowly. As the ISS Valiant neared the boundary of the drift, the first glimmers of real space blinked into view on the forward screen. Tiny points of light, normal stars, distant but familiar, shimmered at the edge of the black. It was like crawling out of a long tunnel into daybreak. Commander James Carter stood at the center of the bridge, eyes fixed on the screen. Behind him, his crew worked in silence. They were exhausted, bruised, but alive. The ship's systems had held together after the last encounter. One enemy ship was gone. The other had fallen behind, or so they hoped. Estimate distance to the border, James asked. Nyla checked her screen. 3,000 kilometers. At current speed, 5 minutes. The ship rumbled softly under strain. Hull plates groaned in the cold silence of space. The Valiant was moving carefully, engines steady and slow to avoid stirring up more anomalies in the drift. Then the alarm sounded. "Contact 2 o'clock high," shouted Talek. "It's them. They're back." A sleek black shape slipped out of the shadows behind them. The second Imperial warship. Silent, armed, fast. "They waited for us to get close," James said. "They want to finish it here," Talek replied grimly. "Shields up," James ordered. "All weapons offline. Hold fire." "Hold fire?" Nyla asked, confused. "They're charging weapons. We won't shoot unless we're hit," James said. "Let them fire the first shot. We're not going to start a war." But it was already too late for peace. The enemy ship opened fire. Twin plasma bolts tore through the void and struck the Valiant's starboard hull. The ship rocked violently. Consoles sparked. One crew member fell to the deck. "Direct hit. Shield matrix down 10%. The engineer shouted. "Return fire," James said. "Target weapons systems only. Disable, don't destroy." The Valiant's forward cannons fired. Bright blue energy lanced across the dark. One bolt hit the attacker's port side, blowing out an engine pod. The enemy ship veered but didn't stop. It returned fire, harder. The bridge shook. Sparks flew from panels. Alarm screamed. "We're not going to make it if we hold back," Talek said. "They're not aiming to disable." James knew he was right. This was no warning. The Empire had sent a kill order. This wasn't defense. It was execution. He stared at the screen, thinking fast. Then he remembered the drift maps they'd compiled. Fields, gravity distortions, hidden energy pockets. There was one anomaly near the edge of the drift. A gravity fold strong enough to crush a small moon. They'd marked it as a dead zone. "Change course," James ordered. "Take us toward the gravity well." "Sir." Nyla looked alarmed. "That zone isn't stable. They won't follow us into it," James said. "And if they do, we use it against them." The Valiant turned sharply, engines pushing into overdrive. The enemy ship followed, weapons still firing. As they neared the fold, the stars on the screen began to warp, bending at the edges like reflections in water. James timed it carefully. "Prepare to vent reactor plasma on my mark. Set decoys. Make it look like we lost control." "Ready," Talek confirmed. "Mark." The Valiant released a stream of burning plasma, then cut its engine briefly. The ship drifted like it was dead. The enemy took the bait, rushing forward, closer to the gravity fold. Now reverse thrust. Hard burn. "Get us out of the edge," James shouted. The Valiant blasted away from the fold just as the enemy ship entered its pull. The screen showed it in real time. One moment chasing, the next caught in the grip of unseen forces. Its hull twisted. The ship tried to pull away, but the field was stronger. Within seconds the vessel crumpled, crushed by pressure it couldn't escape. Then it was gone. Silence returned. Only the hum of the Valiant's engines remained. The bridge was still. The crew stared at the screen, stunned. "It's over," Talek said quietly. James nodded. "For now." Damage reports came in. Fires were out. Hull breaches sealed. Life support was stable. They'd survived. The stars outside grew brighter. They had reached the edge of the drift. James looked at Nyla. "Do we have a line to the beacon network?" "Barely. Long-range comms are open but not secure." "Then it's time," James said. "Send the data. All of it. Logs, images, recordings. Use the old distress band. Make it impossible to block." Nyla began the upload. "What should I tag the message as?" she asked. James thought a moment. "Truth," he said. "Mark it. Truth from the drift." The message launched. Across space, across time, through dozens of listening posts and abandoned outposts, the story of the Valiant, the Almathea, and the drift began to spread. James leaned back in his seat. He closed his eyes just for a moment. They'd made it through the dark. But now, a new question waited. What would the Empire do next? The stars were fully visible now. From the observation deck of the ISS Valiant, Commander James Carter stood alone, watching them. After days in the black silence of the drift, the simple presence of starlight felt like a miracle. The stars shimmered quietly, untouched by war, lies, or fear, just distant and real. Behind him, the ship hummed softly. The crew was busy with repairs. Bulkheads were scorched, wires exposed. Medical teams moved carefully from deck to deck. They had survived, but they were changed. The message had been sent. Everything, every log, every recording, every image they had collected from the drift and the derelict Almathea was now traveling across Imperial space, bouncing through deep-band emergency frequencies. The Empire couldn't fully control. Somewhere, someone was listening. Somewhere, people would know. The silence of the Empire would not hold forever. James turned as Commander Talek approached, datapad in hand. "We've received a response," Talek said. "Not from the Empire, from scattered receivers. Civilian research stations, old colonies, even some rogue fleets. They got the message." James nodded. "What are they saying?" "Most of them want confirmation. Some want coordinates. A few say we're lying. A few others say they always suspected." James took the datapad, scrolled through the messages, then handed it back. "We did what we had to," he said. Talek looked uneasy. "We're still wanted, James. The Empire will come after us. They won't forgive this." "I don't expect them to," James said. "But we didn't come out of the drift to go back into hiding." Dr. Helen Marquez entered the deck next, her eyes weary but bright with something deeper, hope. "The data we collected," she said. "It's already reshaping the star charts. The drift isn't a dead zone. It's alive, dangerous, yes, but real. And there are patterns we've never seen before. Gravitational signatures that don't match any known physics. Signals that loop backwards. We may have only scratched the surface." James looked out the window again. "And the Empire wanted it erased. Because they feared it," Helen said. "They feared what they didn't control." James turned back to her. "Then we go further." Helen blinked. "What do you mean?" "I mean we don't go back. Not to the Empire, not to their borders. We've already crossed the edge once. Now we chart what lies beyond it." Talek stepped closer. "You want to keep going?" "Yes," James said. "Not to fight, not to run, to explore, to map what's real. The Empire draws maps based on control. We'll draw ours based on truth." A quiet moment passed, then Talek nodded. Helen smiled faintly. "Navigation?" James asked. Nyla's voice came over the comm. "Ready, Commander." Course plotted. Away from known space. James tapped the console beside him, opening ship-wide comms. "This is Commander Carter. We made it through. We saw the truth. We paid the price for it. But we're still here. And now we choose a new path. We don't run. We don't hide. We discover. If anyone tries to stop us, let them try. We'll be ready." He paused, then added, "For the Empire, the charts are empty now. But for us, they've just begun." In the command center, the crew began final preparations. Engines powered up. The ship turned slowly, away from the stars of known space and toward the dark. But this time, the dark didn't feel empty. This time, it felt like a door waiting to open. The ISS Valiant moved forward, steady and bold, crossing into space no one had named, heading deeper into the unknown, not to escape the past, but to shape the future. Behind them, the stars burned bright. Ahead of them, the truth waited.